I love FMV adventure games. They are usually exceptionally entertaining. And that's because they can be very good. They can be so bad that they're good. Or they can also be so bad that they're bad. But then we have the Isletide Hotel, which I'm going to describe as it was so school playish it confused me internally for very long periods of time. I should try and explain myself because this is a really weird one. The Isletide Hotel is one of the latest games from Wales Interactive that specialise in these FMV live-action adventure games. You choose your path by speaking to people and making decisions in dialogue, or steps or things that you pick up, things that you interact with, and there'll always be branching narratives. The Isletide Hotel has 7 main endings with 14 kind of variants. Lots of different side quests that have their own dedicated paths, and sometimes characters just don't appear in one playthrough, and then there'll be your main sidekick if you choose different choices. And the whole game is built around replaying it over and over again and choosing lots of different choices, because it's fundamental to try and understand what the bloody hell is going on in this game. You play as an absent father who's trying to rescue his teenage daughter from this bizarre cult that have taken up residence in the Isletide Hotel. They all meet every 3 years for a few nights, and the idea is that they try and choose someone to bond with. And what you start to understand is that actually people are body swapping and trying to live their lives in different perspectives so that they can become more enlightened with themselves. But you don't necessarily get that the first time that you play. And so every single character is talking slightly like they don't belong in their bodies, but comically like 13-year-old children who have just discovered or have just been told by their drama teacher, we want you to be ethereal. So every person talks like a dream sequence. And it's very stilted. And all of the interactions with the live action has slow motion. And people doing really long stares at each other for an inordinate amount of time. And so I swear about 6 gigabytes of the 15 gig that this game takes to install is just people staring at each other, very, like in proper high definition. It's very strange. But once you understand that they are body swapping and you're trying to work out who's who now, when you then come back for your next playthrough, people have started to shift a bit. And depending on who you talk to, people are in different people's bodies and you're trying to work out who the bloody hell's who. And it's all being controlled by this like Dr. Aniston, who is trying to basically sacrifice your teenage girl as part of this body swapping cult. And you need to save your daughter, but only a couple of those endings ever do so. Some of them might see you end up body swapping. Some of it might mean that you help out some other people and escape the hotel with or without your daughter, or you might just run amok and leave her since you've been absent all your life as well. All of these different ways and playthroughs of the game are very up for grabs, but some of them unlock once you've been round the rodeo several times, because then you start to get more of the lore about what's going on so that you can then ask different questions and unlock different things later on. And that's what I mean about it being like all about the replayability and all of that kind of stuff. It's just such a shame that the game is utterly nonsensical. So everyone's trying to be mysterious, but also ethereal and dreamlike with their cult status. But they talk in riddles, they don't speak in proper sentences. Nothing really makes sense and nothing is really explained properly. And so it all feels like it's trying to be some kind of kitsch avant-garde movie, but it doesn't have the legs to stand on its own 2 feet to deliver the mystery. And so you're just looking at people going, what is this? And like the main character sometimes looks at the camera as if to go, what the hell am I in? And I'm not surprised, because the entire thing is really incomprehensible to kind of pull apart. Which is such a shame, because the actual idea of having characters body swap in between playthroughs so that you're not quite sure who you've got next time around and you need to kind of uncover it is actually a really cool concept. It's just really poorly delivered here. There's also some really frustrating gameplay elements to the Isletide Hotel that got on my nerves. Some of the playthrough elements of this game are choice limited. And so you'll get into a room with, say, like 5 or 6 characters, but you can only speak to 3 at one time. And those interactions might take several interactions that are also counting down. So you might have 6 interactions total, but if you spend 3 on one person, 3 on another, then the whole thing's game over. And sometimes you kind of go, well, I'm now locked into an ending that I can't get out of because I made a mistake at that point. And so there's an awful lot of faff and chaffing going on. And when you get that on top of the inordinate amount of staring and awkward silences that this game entails, and whilst it looks lovely, having your character spend a lot of time very slowly looking at something or opening a door gingerly over and over and over again, the runtime for this game could have been a third lopped off it by just making all of those transitions much more seamless. And it would have made for a much more succinct and deliverable and punchier product, because it's just too lost in its own ethereal, dreamlike weirdness. And I am someone that loves esoteric weird shit and go for the avant-garde weird movies. My DVD collection is off the wall. But the Isletide Hotel is like a weird junior school adaptation of it, starring very competent actors who have clearly been directed into this weird primary school way of acting. It's weird and it doesn't work. And I'm really sad to say this is probably my least favourite Wales interactive FMV adventure that I've played by a long, long shot. So an unfortunate and hopefully rare miss for me from Wales Interactive, and I look forward to seeing what their next game brings and entails. But yeah, even for this FMV munch 'em up guy, I can't recommend this one. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.